Hello and welcome to the new Wroxham channel that we got on the YouTube now. It's good to have you guys finally getting content that you deserve from Wroxham. And the first interview we're going to have is with the first team manager. It is Jordan Southgate. How are you doing, mate?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
I'm good. It's just been a weird few weeks, obviously getting to know everyone via Zoom and not being able to see people, but it's good to finally see you.
Yeah, of course. It's strange times, isn't it? So this is the way we meet, I suppose, and hopefully once this is all over, we'll have regular contact and start taking the club in a new direction.
Yeah, it sounds good to me. I kind of want to, because you started off playing football, didn't you? You didn't go straight into coaching or anything, because you are quite a young manager in all fairness.
Yeah, so I guess the plan was never to become a manager, and management never really crossed my mind. And I played football from 7 to just before I was 20. And then I had to stop through injury and having some news from the hospital from one of my scans, which wasn't nice. Then I kind of had a few years thinking what I want to do and get myself fixed, and I sort of got into management. I think I started managing the Wroxham Reserves when I was 20, just before I was 24, and I now just turned 28. So yeah, relatively young. But I guess I'm only young because I finished early. In terms of management experience, I've got 3.5 to 4 seasons now just in semi-pro football. That's about what I do for a day job. So age-wise, I think I look young, but experience-wise, I don't think I am. But yeah, football, to become a footballer was the dream from the start. That was the dream.
I think everyone, when they're growing up, when they're watching, obviously the likes now of Ronaldo, Messi, they always want to become a footballer. Who is it that you looked up to at a young age?
I was a big Liverpool fan. So Michael Owen, Steven Gerrard, those guys. But yeah, I was, I signed for Norwich City when I was 8 years old and was there till I was 15, 16. So in terms of idols, just people coming through Norwich City was the people I looked up to. And yeah, I guess I grew up in a good era of football, of being a Liverpool fan, Istanbul and those things. And yeah, I was just desperate to make it. And unfortunately, like many others, I haven't. And I've chosen a new path, which means I get to remain within football.
Which is always good. So you said you started off as the Wroxham Reserves manager. Obviously, you've been doing a lot of work with the Norwich Academy as well in the CSF. But was that did you think that was your first proper step into managing, or would you say the Community Sports Foundation was?
In terms of coaching, CSF was, they gave me an apprenticeship when I was 17, and I've learned all my core coaching values from those guys, and I'm still learning that with them now. In terms of management, yes, that's the first step. I would say out of my comfort zone. At work, which I call it, I'm very comfortable in what I do, and I know what I'm doing. And then when you step into a club, which I've been a part of for years, not a couple of years before that, but prior to that, and I guess it's the first time I've put myself on the pedestal of, if you're not performing to a certain level, you're not getting results, potentially you can lose your job. But I think I transitioned into it really well, and like I said, I did it for one season, and then Lee gave me the first team job, which I'm still forever grateful for.
So so I'm guessing he saw your performance as the reserves manager. Obviously, I was trying to think, I was 18 at the time and I was fully into Kings Lynn. So what was the reserves team like when you took over it?
It was fine. The reserves at the club is probably the hardest job at the club, and Mark, who does it now, will tell you that. And me and Mark have a really close relationship. But look, the challenge for the reserves is to stay in the Anglian Common Premier, which is a tough division. The second challenge is to promote players into the first team. We feel by having the reserves only 2 leagues below us gives us more credibility when we're trying to sign players, and especially younger players, because we can give them that challenge. But when I went in, the team was relatively empty. I had to sign quite a few players with the target of having younger players. And like I said, the challenge was to remain in the league. I think we came mid-table, but I think I had 7 players going in and out of the first team that season, which for me was the pinnacle of that season. But it was the players learning the trade and me learning my trade. And when the opportunity came up in the summer, when the first team job came available and Jamie Godbold moved to Lowestoft, I think we got the deal sorted within 2 or 3 days, which was great for me.
So, of course, you started off your footballing career at Norwich. How did it then feel to then becoming the first team manager of Wroxham and having the likes of Grant Holt and Simon Lapping having to obey your orders?
Yeah, I mean, I get asked that question a lot, and I guess firstly, having Adam Drury with me was, he was someone I grew up watching all the time. I was a season ticket holder at Norwich for pretty much my whole childhood, all I can remember. So I used to watch Ads quite a bit, and Ads came into work, and he kind of got paired up with me to learn his coaching styles and different bits and pieces, and we kind of hit off a good relationship. And when I got offered the first team job, the first person I thought to be my assistant was Ads. Did I think he'd accept the offer? Probably not, but I was delighted that he did. And then as soon as he came in, we just started planning and started thinking, and Laps came into conversation, and we got that deal done after we left Kings Lynn, which was great. And then a few months into the season, Holty came into discussions. And don't be wrong, there's been other players who we've discussed who have played for Norwich who have come up, but nothing's materialised. But having them three at the club is just phenomenal. I think the backing we got from the chairman to bring people in like that, the way they've took to the players, the way the players have took to them, it's just taken the club to a new level, in my opinion. And in terms of them listening to me, they're footballers by trade. They listen to the manager, whether it's me, whoever else it can be. They've got a job to do when they cross the white line. They've got the utmost respect for me and the other players, and they're there to win games of football, and there's no other reason why they come.
That's completely fair enough. Of course, it's been 2 years now. Has it progressed, do you think, as a club in those 2 years since you've taken over?
Massively. And that's credit not just to me and Ads and the players, but to the chairman and to all the volunteers. The pitch is probably the best it's been for a while. Still not the level we want it at, but the best it's been for a while. When I took over, there was probably 80, 90 people coming to each game. We're easily in the 200s now, and last year we had a couple of games over 1,000. The change rooms have improved. There's a training area now behind the pitch. The whole club's improved, and that is shown and reflection by the league table, because the year before I took over, I think the club finished 13th. We're top of the league at the minute, and although the season's on hold, I think that is showing where the club's come from. We got to the quarterfinal of the Vars last year. So yeah, I think the club has improved. I think the under-18s have got a good squad. The reserves are doing really well. We've got the women set up now. We've got all the other age groups going through the system. I think the chairman was saying when he took over there was 3 teams, and I think he's now close to 15 or 16, something like that, which is brilliant, and that's credit to everybody at the club. So yeah, I think the clubs have made huge strides.
So do you think, because obviously you've got the teams like you've got your Norwich Uniteds, you've got your Goulstons, you've got Dereham quite close by. Do you think as a whole setup, Wroxham is probably the place to be?
It's difficult to say, because I think everyone offers something different. Obviously, Dereham are a league above. Good guys there, good setup. So I think that's a good place to be. Norwich United is only down the road. Really competitive club, good youth system, good people at the club. So again, and then Goulston's a little bit further, so we don't really compete so much with Goulston, because people who live in Goulston don't often like coming down the Acle Straight, and vice versa, I guess. But I just think local football's in a really good place in comparison to where it's been, which is good for everyone. And you get players who try and tout clubs off against each other and ask for this or that, and I'm speaking to this club. But I think the good thing is there's just good people involved in local football, which I'm not so much about comparison and comparing. I think each player will have a club that's right for them. We've signed players from Norwich United. They have signed players from us, same as Dereham. And I think players will flourish at a club which they'll find a club which is right for them.
Talking about players going to and fro, of course, you've had the likes of Hardy Black that's come in, have been absolutely phenomenal. But what is it like also having Chris Sutton's sons there, same with Darren's sons as well? Like, what is it about Wroxham that seems to bring ex-professional players back, and even some of their sons?
I think the way we run ourselves as a club is one thing. I think the area is good. Adam Drury helps with recruitment in terms of Laps and Holty, which was said. Tom Huckabee, we got involved in the reserve setup because he'd been injured for 2 to 3 years with a really bad knee injury. Brought him into the reserve setup, done really well. Mark Rowe worked really hard with him, turned him into a centre half, and now he's flourishing in the first team. Ollie Sutton, Chris's boy, is someone I've known for a lot of years. He's played step 3, step 2 football. And, you know, before last season, a goalkeeper was an area I really wanted to improve on. So I phoned Ollie up and, you know, kind of sold the club to him, and he's come in and done really well. So Hucks and Suts, I don't know as much if it's because their parents are ex-footballers while they're at Wroxham. I just think the whole setup brought them here, and I think being from the backgrounds they can tell that the club's running in a professional way, which is something me and Adge pride ourselves on, that training's the right way, match days are the right way. Everything we do is as professional as we can, and then hopefully we can reap the rewards of that.
So he's talking about professionalism. Obviously, we're quite far down the English pyramid. So what is it week in, week out like for the players? Is it only one day of training? Yeah,
so current season that we're in now, pre-season we'll do 2 to 3 times a week. And then when we get into the season, it's finding time to train, to be honest, because we often have a midweek game and a Saturday game. So usually it would be one training session and or midweek game, and then a Saturday game. And then depending how they're looking fitness-wise and fatigue-wise, potentially we'd train a second night, potentially we'd set them a run to complete or something like that. But you've got to take into consideration what these players earn, what they do as a day job or an evening job, and make someone fit. I personally would rather train for 2 hours knowing that I'm going to get the whole squad there than train twice and get 8, 9, 10 at different sessions. So that's how we run it, and the lads bought into that, and we train properly, we train hard, and then you rest until your next match, and that's everyone's bought into that, which I can't fault the players in terms of effort, commitment. We have 16 to 20 at every training session, and we train well.
That sounds good. We'll go on to this season, and obviously we can tie in last year as well. It's been a pretty rocky road considering no one really below step 3 of non-league or even step 2 of non-league really knows what is actually going on. And obviously for people like yourself, you don't know if this season is going to be completed, and obviously you've started fantastically. So it's pretty bad for you guys.
Yes, I did an interview on the weekend with Nick Bowler on Radio Norfolk, who asked me a similar question. It's so unknown that it's really hard to plan. How much load do you give the players? How much do you want them to do? Last lockdown in November, when we came out of it, we were at the lockdown on the Wednesday night, and we had a game on Saturday, and we hadn't played for 5 weeks. In my opinion, that was too soon. So we have to keep them prepared that the FA or the league could say, I don't know, March the 1st, we're at lockdown, you've got a game in 3 days. We don't know. So it's really difficult to plan. It's really difficult to prepare, but the only positives you can take from it is everyone's in the same position. So we set the lads some stuff to do, and we review it every 2 weeks. And we can just trust them to get on with it and make sure that if and when we do return, they're as fit as they can be.
I'd like to get your take on it as well. The whole thing that from elite football can only be played. Now, for me, I feel like grassroots is the one that's going to struggle the most, and it's probably the place where it's not going to get spread the most. And I feel like I don't know why Wroxham can't play and someone like, I don't know, Dover can.
Yeah, it's really difficult. And my view on it is if we can't have fans, we shouldn't play, because our club, in particular Wroxham, is a self-funded club. So if we were to have no fans, have no income, we can't really, and we still have to pay the players and pay for the referees and the lights and all that stuff that you have to pay for, we wouldn't survive. So it's really difficult to plan. All I know is when we were playing from September through to January or whenever it was, December, we had no issues. We had no cases. We all followed the rules. But there's a wider picture than non-league football at the minute. And hopefully, once the next few months is out of the way, we can get back to the pitch and we can all get back to doing what we love. Because sitting in this room with 4 walls all day, working, doing these type of things, going to sleep, waking up, doing the same thing, it takes its toll. So I'm missing the pitch and the football as much as everybody else.
So, what are your plans? So, say if this season does go ahead, and say hypothetically we start on March the 1st, what do you think the club can do this year?
We want to get promotion. That's what we want. It was, when I came in, although this is the third season I've come in, we've actually obviously only completed one season. Last year we played 25 games, and this year we've played 10. So we haven't actually played 2 full seasons since I've been in. But the plan was within 4 to 5 seasons to get promoted, and that's still the plan. We're in, like I say, we're in season 3. We're on course, albeit 10 games in. But there's some very good teams in our league, and there's other teams who will be going for promotion. But yeah, that's the plan. That is the plan, and if we can do it, it'll be great. If we don't do it this year, we'll go for it again next year.
That sounds even better. I'll go on to some questions now from some fans and maybe some people you might know. Djan Vlogs has asked, what is your greatest achievement today in football, whether that be playing or managing?
I think playing wise would probably be when I played for Norfolk under 18s and we won the FA County Youth Cup. First team to do it, I think, in 95 years. They've gone on to do it again since, which is great. Or obviously signing for the academy as a kid. That was everyone's pinnacle, wasn't it? And as a manager, was definitely beating Stowmarket in the Vars to get into the quarterfinal. That was to manage it. I think I was 26 in front of 1,300 people at your local club, all over the press, all over the news, live on the radio, and to win 2-0 against a team that hadn't lost a game that season was pretty special. And that's going to take some beating. I think the only way we'll beat that is by lifting the trophy.
Sounds good. I've got one here. It's by Daryl Allen, who's the guy that sorts out quite a lot of the women's videography stuff.
Yeah.
He's asked, do you feel like Norwich do enough to support Wroxham? And I guess that kind of ties in with your CSF stuff as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Norwich City as a whole provides excellent support to not just Wroxham, but to local football in general. And I think 2 key areas to look at there is players and coaches. I think if you were to look across the Thurlow Nunn and higher up to Kings Lynn, I would say there's plenty of clubs who have benefited from what we do at CSF and from Norwich City as a whole. Coaching wise, there's plenty of people who are in and around who have benefited from development at Norwich City or CSF, me included, ads included. Plenty of people who benefit from that. In terms of what they do for Wroxham, I think Norwich have supported me greatly in terms of, we've got Harry Pitcher on loan at the minute, who, albeit has now only played 1 game, but under 18 player coming in on loan. We've had friendlies against them. They have tweeted on their social medias and different bits and pieces when we had the Vars game. So yeah, I think Norwich City as a whole have support local football greatly, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've seen quite a few retweets from them when we've had games and stuff. So I feel like they do a lot for us. It's just when you have a look at small teams around the local area, like sometimes when you see the likes of Bury going into administration, then obviously folding as a club, like both of the Manchester clubs didn't do anything to help them. And it just kind of, I feel like we're in a very good place in Norfolk where everyone's kind of nice. So it doesn't seem like there is going to be any bad blood anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen any bad blood from this area, and I'm grateful for obviously Norwich City for one giving me the opportunity as a footballer as a youngster, and now employing me as a staff member. And then from a Wroxham point of view and from a local football point of view, I think, like I say, that the leagues are littered with players who have been through the system or have come out of the system, as it is with coaching staff. And yeah, I certainly wouldn't be here today without the journey that I've been on.
I've got two more questions for you. The Wroxham Blue Wave Band, who I'm guessing you've been hearing a lot from, they've asked, which opposition team is the one that you love to beat?
Firstly, all of them, because I don't like losing. I guess Norwich United is a local derby. Galston's a local derby, so they're always good games. But I think from last season, it was definitely Stowmarket, just purely because they were unbeaten for the whole year. In fact, we didn't actually play them in the league because our games got moved around both of our Vars journeys, and we were supposed to play them back to back before we went into the lockdown. So yeah, I'd probably say the local derbies are the best, and then league-wise, probably Stowmarket.
Okay. I've got the last one is from JT, and he says, where do you see Wroxham in 5 years' time?
As a first team or as a whole club?
As a whole club.
I see us flourishing with youth teams. I see the under-18s and reserves still producing players. I see the women's setup growing. I know Bex is working really hard on that. And first team wise, I hope to see us above step 5, hopefully promotion this year or next year, and hopefully retaining that and not coming back down the pyramid. And keep signing and recruiting the best players in the area. That's the plan. If we can grow the club and the facilities, then great. But yeah, as a club, as a picture, and we're all working and striving to get there.
Sounds good. I've got one last question for you, and it's a question from me. How would you like the Wroxham fans to remember you with your time at the club?
As a winner, as someone who's passionate about the club, someone who puts a lot of time and effort into making the club try and get to the next level, and hopefully people have seen that already. But yeah, I guess I'd like to be remembered as a winner.
That's fair enough. I think a lot of managers wouldn't say that. If you came on and said, oh, well, I would like to lose a game, I think people would probably want you to get sacked.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, thank you very much for that chat, John. And it'll be good to finally meet you at some point. Hope you guys enjoyed it on the YouTube. I might try and find like an audio platform we can put on as well as that. But thank you very much, Jordan, for that chat.
No worries. Thanks, guys. See you soon.
See you later, guys.